Well, it's always a good day when you can have a cigar and talk to one of the Renaissance men of the industry. U.S. Navy, used to land airplanes as an air traffic controller, had, when he started out, bales of tobacco dropped off on your driveway, come a long way. One of the titans in the business, it's Nick Perdomo. Thanks for hanging out with us, man.
Thanks for having me. I'm really appreciate it.
Yeah. So we know the story, making cigars in your backyard, X number of years ago, como yo oídos, as they say
Right.
in Spanish. So tell me about how this all started. When you walk into your offices here, did you just kind of pinch yourself and go, holy cow?
I got to be honest with you. I pinch myself every day. I started out of a garage. A lot of people know about that. It's really the American dream and the American story. And my father, who came from Cuba with a shirt off his back, just like your family, told me, and I'll never forget. He said, you live in the greatest country in the world, and if you work hard, you can attain anything you want. And I never forgot that. So with that being said, I wanted to get in the cigar industry. It was 1992. I just got out of the military and just gotten married. And I decided I was going to get in the cigar industry and told my father at the time I was an air traffic controller, like you mentioned, and I had a really good job here at Miami as a controller. And I remember calling my father and saying, "Hey, Dad, I'm going to get in the cigar industry. I'm going to start making cigars out of my garage." And my father said, "You're a moron. You got a great job. You're doing really well. It doesn't make any sense doing that." And I said, "Well, Dad, you told me something. You said I live in the greatest country in the world. If I work hard, I can take anything I want." He said, "Well, yeah, you're right." And to make a little story shorter, in 1995, I called my father up, the latter part of 94 to be exact, and said, "Dad, I sold 1 million cigars. I have a big cigar factory in Ybor City atop the Ybor City Brewing Company, and I have our big facility in Flagler Street." And then my dad, of course, said, "Well, maybe you're not so much of a moron." So, it was through a lot of hard work. I remember buying tobacco like you would buy ham. I'd buy it by the pound, and I'd
Wow.
always tell the brokers, "One day you'll see that I'll buy a bale from you." And today, thankfully, we have a staff of over 5,000 workers. We have over 1 million square feet of building space, and we got more than that bale that I said. We have about a 7-year inventory, and we have about 28,000 bales of tobacco and aging at all times. So I've been blessed, and my dad was right. We do, and you know it. You
Yeah.
come from the same descent that I do. That if you really work hard, you really can attain anything you want. We live in the greatest country in the world. I'm proud of that, but I'm also proud of our workforce and my family who've supported me because anytime you start a business, you work a tremendous amount of hours. So it was
Mhm.
great.
So what's more stressful, landing airplanes or opening up a cigar shop?
I would say running a cigar business is a lot more stressful because I have cigars in my head day in and day out. I always say that air traffic control was kind of like playing a video game without having to put a quarter in. You could always shut it off. So I really enjoyed air traffic control. It was a fun game. It was a fun trade for me, and it was a great job. But with that being said, it also really kind of set me up in business. It it,
Mhm.
it allowed me to handle tremendous amounts of stress because, as you know, air traffic control is
Yeah.
probably the most stressful job in the world, but so is running a business and having a family. So I think we all have our stresses, but I really have to tell you that I love the cigar industry.
And it's been and for us who consume these great cigars, we appreciate it. Now,
Thank
now
you.
talk to me about the process. Tell me from seed to out the door. How does all that entail for you guys?
Well, we're lucky because we're vertically integrated. So we actually develop our own seed. We have our own genetic department, but it's not just growing tobacco, it's growing in the right valleys, having a great agronomy team. And you go in through the curing and the fermentation process and the aging process. And listen, I could talk to you for hours and explain to you, but just kind of in a nutshell, this is a business you run with your heart, not necessarily with a pen and a paper and a
Mhm,
calculator, because you
mhm.
have to love it because it's done manually. So with that, it's a long process. From the time we put that seed in the ground, by the time you're smoking that cigar, on average, it takes between 4 and 5 years before that cigar is finally made. Then after it's rolled, it gets aged in a cedar room for 6 to 10 months. So it's really a business that you must love. It's a business that you have to be very patient with. And I'm glad that our staff and especially me, I'm very passionate about it, and I really want to make our consumers and our retailers happy.
It's we talk about millennials all the time. How we need it now. We need it now. The Twitter, the Instagram. Years of fermentation, years of sitting in a barrel. That had when you started. That had to be mind boggling.
It was mind-boggling because we started in 1999 and in the growing seasons where we started growing our own tobacco, that was 21 years ago, and We started meagerly. We started with 1 acre. Today we have over 1,400 acres of tobacco that we grow. But with that being said, you have to be very patient. It's no different than a fine single malt scotch. It really takes time, and you must love it. You must be patient because tobacco will speak and tell you when it's ready. And I really don't want to rush it. I want to make sure that it's perfect. Look, I'm very picky.
Mhm.
And I think our consumers and retailers should be equally as picky. And I've always believed that quality would always bring quantity. And we've been able to do that. And we're known for our quality of our products. Forget these trophies. I did an interview just recently for a European magazine, and these were just the last 9 trophies that we won for best cigar of the year. And these are rated against every cigar from Cuba, Honduras, Nicaragua, the Dominican Republic. So I'm proud of that. And we even have trophies like this that, when they first started in 1999. And it just shows the workmanship of the Perdomo worker, whether it be in Nicaragua or our great sales staff here in Miami or the 15 sales guys that we have across the country. We all pull the same way, and I'm very blessed. And I'll repeat it again. The greatest asset of my company is certainly not Nick Perdomo. It's our workforce, and we're blessed to have them.
Yeah, I felt like I walked into like the Lakers or the Patriots locker room here with all this stuff going on. I had to throw that in there. We're in Miami. I'm an LA guy, so I had to throw the Lakers. Boop, boop.
Well, we can't say anything about the Dolphins, but what I'm most proud about these trophies, these were voted by consumers.
Right.
So it wasn't about advertising. It wasn't about that. It was you, the consumers, who rated. So that's what makes me the most proud of. Yeah.
Now, one of the things that make you distinct is your wrappers. I saw this great explanation how you put them in bourbon barrels.
Yes.
So talk to me about the wrappers and that process and the different kind of wrappers that you use.
After we age all our wrappers, which is the outer part of the cigar, when fermentation stops, that's when most people, if they ferment them that long, which takes years, will roll the cigar. In '99, my father came up with a concept of using bourbon barrels. And the reason we use bourbon barrels are, one, they're not varnished so the tobacco could breathe. Two, they char the barrels. So we knew that the concept of charcoal would be a filtering agent. And three, the impregnation of alcohol. It wasn't that we're trying to infuse bourbon in the tobacco. We're trying to use the free radicals of the alcohol to ferment it. So what it did, it gave it another fermentation period. And what happened was with three things. The tobacco's caramelized, the sugars rose, which gave a much better tobacco core of flavor. Two, that charcoal really worked great in taking out some of the rough edges that you can get with tobacco sometimes. And what we saw is in three, we saw these nice dark hues and cask colors that we really like. For example, you're smoking a Connecticut shade wrap Perdomo
Mhm.
Reserve champagne. If you look, it's not yellow. It's
Right.
got almost like a butterscotch honey color, and you can see the brilliance of that wrapper under the light because the oils and all those sugars caramelize to the top of the wrapper, and that's because of the bourbon barrel aging process. Now, it takes a long time. On a wrapper like that, it can take upwards between 6 and 10 months. A wrapper that I'm smoking here could take a sun-grown wrapper can take up to a year, and a dark Maduro wrapper can take us up to 14 months of extra fermentation. But that time is worth it for our consumers, and I think it kind of differentiates Perdomo from a lot of the other cigar lines because of us doing it. A lot of people now are saying they're doing it, but I don't know if they're doing it or not, but it's something that we really believe in. We have over 984 barrels in our company, and we have brands like Perdomo 12-year double age vintage, where we actually case our fillers, binders, and wrappers in bourbon barrels, and we have them all certified. And those tobaccos are actually 12 years old. And the reason we did that is for my love of single malt scotch, and I wanted to come up with something where you would have a vintage where it would have that type of tobacco. So it's special.
Well, if you need any help, emptying those bourbon barrels, I know a good guy that
Okay.
can do that for you. So now talk about the complexity and sort of the radical idea of the tobacco that you put in there, because on paper it almost didn't make sense the way you were combining them, but they come out perfect.
Yeah, it takes time. It depends on the fillers if you're going to do them, whether they're light tobaccos, which are thinner in texture, or heavy tobaccos that are very thicker in texture, of course. So that tells us the time. And there was a lot of trial and error. You can imagine we've been doing this for 22 years. We got it down to a science, but it really makes a difference in the flavor of the actual cigar and the complexity, the aromas, the bouquet, everything it entails by using this bourbon barrel aging process. And like I said earlier, it really makes a difference. And I think it really differentiates our cigars from a lot of different cigars that I've smoked on the market. Because even though I own a cigar company, a lot of cigar makers will tell you they don't smoke other people's cigars. I do quite the opposite. I smoke everybody's cigars. And
Right.
there's a lot of great cigars out there. And the reason I do it is because I want to be able to taste the difference and what kind of differentiates ourselves. And maybe I can pick up a good idea too in something like that. So I think it's really helped us also by doing that.
What are you guys working on now? Before we get to that, now obviously we're living in the age of COVID. How has it impacted you, retailers? What's been going on with you in this age?
Well, I almost feel bad about saying we've blown up since COVID's happened. And because a lot of people have stayed home, maybe they smoked 1 or 2 cigars.
Right.
Now they're smoking 3 or 4 cigars. You amortize that by the millions of people that enjoy cigars worldwide. What's happened is our industry has boomed. It reminds me a lot of the cigar booms in the mid
Hmm.
90s. We have 2 full factories that are running nonstop. We never closed because of COVID, because COVID wasn't really that big of a deal at all in Nicaragua. If you've been to our facilities, we're known as the COVID facility because I'm antiseptic. I'm almost like I'm a big germ freak, to be quite honest with you. So what we did is we just separated our workers a little bit farther. We have 1 million square feet of building space. Our rollers have washed their hands 7 times a day for the last 25 years that I've been in Nicaragua. We clean and mop. We've always done this, and we even field day. It's an old Navy term where we actually bring a cleaning crew to pick up every bit of dust that we can pick up and clean up everything in the factory. A lot of people will tell you the Perdomo factory is literally antiseptic, and to top that on, we actually freeze all the cigars at 45 degrees below zero for bugs and lacodermia, and that kills anything. You can
Hmm.
ask the CDC or anything else. Those types of temperatures kill everything. So, and we have a doctor on board, and really, we've
Wow.
had no workers that have been really sick. We've been very blessed by that, not only in our facilities in Nestle, but in our farms, whether they be in the Condega Jalapa or the Esteli Valley. So, knock on wood, we've been blessed. We had a little, because of a lot of closures, some of our salesmen had to stay home for a little while and work from home, and retailers were kind of doing, the stop and shop carry center from the outside to the inside, which impede a little bit of sales. But the catalog companies sure kept growing because more people are smoking, and as we continue opening up, the business just keeps getting better, and we're blessed with that.
How the retailers obviously have really taken the brunt of it, 'cause you said, sort of foot traffic. How have you been working with them?
Well, we did a lot of specials, and that's a great question. We wanted to help them. We understood that they were having a slowdown, and what we wanted to do is we wanted to make sure that we could propel their business. So we offered them specials that we normally don't do to try to build more profitability because these guys are struggling. They were having a tough time. Rents never stop, and
Right,
directs and indirects never stop.
right, right.
And I think we're a good partner with them. The brick and mortar community is very important to Perdomo because they're the ones who started our business. It's over 82% of our business, which is very unique in the cigar industry. Most people depend a lot on the catalog companies. And mind you, we respect the catalog companies. We're very friendly with the catalog companies.
Sure.
We think they're important because there's a lot of people that can't get to their local retailer. They're in different areas in Montana, Wyoming, different areas, and it's the easiest way for them to shop. But they definitely carried the brunt of the sales, and their sales went through the roof during this thing too. And as the retailers are starting to open up, they're having monster years. I was just talking to a good friend of mine in Boston, David Garofalo from Two Guys Smoke Shop, and he said it reminds him of the mid 90s, like I said earlier, the boom. Yeah, it's
That
been
w
great.
Those were some days. Now, what just trying to nail you down for an interview was tough because I'm a big fan of accountability. That's how to me, that's how I can always tell leadership accountable. You're not here. You're on the road. You're on the road visiting, moving around because that's what leaders do, right?
Yeah, and I love it. It's I've been doing it for 3 decades, and it's a blessing that I can be able to go out and see our consumers. And I just came in from Cleveland, and what a week we had in the Cleveland area. I've been all through the country, and as long as I can fly and
Yeah.
see people, it's a great thing. So it
Thank you,
it's
sir.
been really, really super. The events have been packed, and people are happy to be right back out on the streets again and trying to resume their normal life, and that's very important, you know what I mean? So, I've been happy to be able to go on the road, not only myself, but my son Nicholas, who runs our sales department, Ralph Valdez, all our guys have been going out on the road, and everybody's happy to see us, and we're happy to see them too.
Got it. You got to be a bit of a road warrior to be into this business.
Oh yeah, I got 8 million miles on American Airlines, so
Ooh.
yeah, I'm platinum for life, and you fly a lot when everybody addresses you by your name. Hey Nick, how you doing? You know what I mean?
They
So it's
got your
pretty,
drink waiting for you
it's
there.
yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, I live on an airplane a lot of the time.
So talk to me about what's next in terms of you walk into that humidor. I mean, it's Christmas Day for a guy like me. What do you got coming up? Any new cigars? Any new sticks? What's coming up?
Yeah, we came out with the new Perdomo Reserve 10th anniversary sun grown and Maduro. It's been the biggest launch we've ever had since Perdomo Reserve Champagne. I don't really come out with a lot of new brands. It's not about what's new, it's about what's consistent and quality driven. And we've had a lot of brands like the brand you're smoking. It's been out for 20 years. It continues growing. It's consistency. And I think the consumer needs more consistency instead of what's new. But we decided to come out with a new brand and we wanted to replace an older brand, which was our Champagne Noir and our Champagne Sun Grown. These two brands have been flying off the shelves. It's been beyond our belief. We haven't been able to even ship one cigar to Europe, and we haven't been able to even give our salesmen a sample of them.
Wow.
But it tells you a lot in the last 3 months when our consumers and our retailers have been buying the cigars and how the sell-through has been. It's been excellent. And I'm proud to say that today we started shipping samples to our salesmen after 3 months. You know, we always say don't smoke your own stash.
Right.
You got to make sure you take care of your customers. But people bought them sight unseen, and it was it makes you happy. We came out with a brand for two guys called Firecrack. We shipped out 1,000 boxes of cigars. We actually put 500 of them for sale. They went on sale at noon, and 2 hours and 43 minutes later, all 500 boxes were sold sight unseen. And you know, it's really humbling when you see people spend their hard-earned money because they trust your brand. And Perdomo is one of the most trusted brands in the industry. And Cigar Aficionado just came out with a study. They ask a bunch of cigar stores the percentage of sales per store, and we came in, whether you look at it one way or another, between number 2 and number 3 in the country. So
and that's among some heavy hitters.
oh yeah. Yeah, and I was really proud of that. Look, if you would have told me 10 years ago I'd be in the top 100,
Right.
I wouldn't believe you. So it's a great thing that the company has done what it's done, and it's been through a lot of hard work. And like I said, I'm very proud of our workforce. They're fantastic. Yeah.
In this age of Twitter and Facebook, Perdomo Cigars is big on social media, right? And
Yes.
so tell us about what you're doing, because I mean, I saw a great video. I think there's a big sort of misnomer about cigars. They're a little intimidating. Like I saw a video you had on your Perdomo YouTube channel where you simple how to cut a cigar, how to
Right.
light a cigar. And I think that sort of takes away the scariness, I guess, for people.
I always tell people they go into a cigar lounge and they're new. Everybody sitting in that cigar lounge is going to be the most helpful to help you because everybody started at one time.
Mhm.
And I think we do make cigars out to be a lot more bigger than what they are. It's about enjoyment and relaxation. And I think that the Perdomo Cigar YouTube channel is about teaching, because I'll tell you, whether you're a beginner or somebody who's been smoking 30 years, I've seen people cut and light cigars incorrectly, and they've been smoking for 30 years. So there's a right way and a wrong way, but it's always a good way to learn. And what's great about cigars is not only is it relaxing and enjoyable, but you meet some of the best people. So sometimes people are intimidated when they go in that cigar shop, but if they would just meet those people out there, everybody wants to help everybody. So it's a great thing. I've never met many bad cigar smokers, that's for sure.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
because that's what it is. It's a time to me, it's like a good meal. You know, you're talking, your friends. Sure, some you're closing deals, or you're watching a game, or you're just, you know what, you're decompressing after a day at
Absolutely.
the office or a day on the field. You know, you're just decompressing. I think that's what cigars bring to people.
And I
right?
think you hit around the head. Decompression is probably the best word for cigar smoking. Someone always asks, everybody will ask me in a magazine, what's the best cigar you ever smoked? And I said, well, how about this? I've never smoked a bad cigar in company of a great person, whether it be my son, whether it be friends, or in a cigar lounge where you're talking with a bunch of guys. You can always seem to enjoy that cigar in great company. And like I said earlier, I've never really met a bad cigar smoker.
So talk to me. Where can we find Perdomo? The websites, e-commerce. Where can we find all your
Well,
stuff?
thank you for that. We're at www.perdomocigars.com. That's our main site. We have, Perdomo fan page. We are big in social media, whether it be Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. And I think it's important because I want to be able to connect with our consumers, especially during COVID, without being able to travel. We weren't lucky enough to be able to go out and visit them, and doing these Zooms and these Facebook Lives were great. And I got a lot of great response from a lot of our consumers around the world that we were able to do that. Like I just did one yesterday out of a group out of Vienna, Austria. And it was great because I got to see a lot of our retailers in the German area and the Swiss area and in the Austrian area, which was really great. People I haven't seen because we couldn't go to our trade show this September in Germany.
Mhm.
Yet I got to see them in my office, and I got to see them in their place of business, which was a great thing. So it was really nice.
Well, listen, I appreciate the time. It's your boy's birthday today, so
It is
even more
28. Yeah,
28, right?
28.
You-
Yeah,
I mean, I mean, I've got a son. I remember the day I brought him home from the hospital, and then all of a sudden there he is standing in front of you with a mustache or whatever.
I know.
It's crazy. So
It is.
I appreciate the time.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank all of you. It was a great interview. I loved the questions; they were fantastic. Sometimes you do an interview and you get these questions that don't even make sense, but it's nice that you love cigars, and fantastic. Thank you all.
Well, for me, it's one of those things. Just like you've been fortunate, I've been fortunate now to meet one of the greats in the business. It's Nick Perdomo. Look him up. What a cigar.
Thank you.